when it comes to leading the luxury segment in terms of sales, BMW and Mercedes-Benz both wrapped up 2019 with a total of around 2.5 million units sold. Audi came in close behind with around 1.8 million units sold, and then there was a big drop to Lexus with around 730,000 units sold. Now, why am I telling you all this boring automotive sales figure stuff? Well, that's because today I'm test driving the 2020 Volvo XC90, and not long ago, Volvo was struggling really hard to stay alive. But in 2010, a Chinese company by the name of Geely Holding Group pumped some life back into the Swedish luxury brand, and things have been on the up and up since then. Volvo wrapped up 2019 with around 704,000 units sold, and that puts it pretty close to Lexus. That's pretty impressive for a brand that was just about to die off. Today I'm going to be giving you a tour of the 2020 Volvo XC90 T8 Inscription, which is the top of the line version of the XC90, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think about this luxury SUV. And dang, does it smell nice in here. I love the smell of Volvo interiors. Let's do this. Now, before we get into everything else, let's talk about some of the cool and some of the weird things about the 2020 Volvo XC90. First up, the $3,200 Bowers & Wilkins sound system is a must-have option. If you're going to put any option in your Volvo XC90, this is the one to have, especially if you love a good sound system. The next thing that I want to point out is this beautiful crystal shifter. It looks really nice, but there's only one annoying thing about this. Say you want to put it in drive. You put your foot on the brake, and you have to tap it down twice. It goes into neutral first, then it goes into drive. Say you want to put it in reverse. You have to, again, tap it twice because it goes into neutral first. It's a bit annoying, and it could take some time to get used to, but I just wish you could just like hold it down, put it in drive, and hold it up and put it in reverse without going into neutral first. Next up, let's talk about some of the luxurious bits. Now, the Inscription is the most luxurious trim level of the XC90, but you can also add a $3,100 luxury package on top of the Inscription model, and that will give you things like massaging seats. And now, while I'm not a big fan of massaging seats and I don't think they will reduce any kind of back pain, this one is actually pretty solid. Also, as a part of the $3,100 luxury package, everything is wrapped in fine Napa leather. Even your sun visor is wrapped in leather. I mean, come on, how many cars out there have a visor wrapped in leather? That's very cool. Now let's take a look at some of the random things that I discovered while messing around with the infotainment system. Now, say you want to swap out your wipers. You don't have to hold them up manually. There's actually a button where you can just hit wiper service position, and they will go in service position. You can swap them out, and when you're done, you can put them back down. That's very cool. Now, since this is a plug-in hybrid, you do get some electric range. Volvo quotes it in at 17 miles on a full charge, but say you forget to plug in your XC90 T8 overnight, you can actually charge it while you're driving it. You just hit this button right here, and the engine will charge the hybrid battery. I've actually gotten it back up to 17 miles, so that's a pretty cool feature. Next up, let's talk about pricing. Pricing for the 2020 Volvo XC90 base model starts at $48,350. The XC90 T8 Inscription starts at $73,300. As tested here, you're looking at $86,790. Now let's talk about power and performance, because Volvo manages to extract some really impressive figures from an all 4-cylinder engine lineup. The T8 here is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged and supercharged inline 4-cylinder engine that's mated to an 87 horsepower electric motor for a combined output of 400 horsepower and 472 pound-feet of torque. Now, that whole setup is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and that will give the Volvo XC90 T8 the ability to go from 0 to 60 in an officially quoted time of 5.3 seconds with a top speed of 140 miles an hour, so it's definitely no slouch at all. Next up, let's talk about fuel economy. This is a plug-in hybrid, so you have that whole miles per gallon equivalent thing going on here. This gets a combined 55 mpge, and after a few days of driving, I'm averaging a total of 25.6 miles a gallon. That's not terrible at all. Next up, let's take a closer look at the exterior design, because not much has changed for the Volvo XC90 for the 2020 model year. I've always been a big fan of the exterior design of the Volvo XC90. It really stands out in this segment, and it's definitely one of my top 3 picks in this segment. It's very bold and very luxurious and very handsome, and continues that way for 2020. Not much has changed for the Volvo XC90 for the 2020 model year, besides a slight change in the grille, which caves slightly inward. There's a slight and minor change to the rear taillights. Other than that, you can't really tell the difference between a 2019 model year and a 2020. The Thor LED headlamps, which are my absolute favorite, are now standard across all trim levels, but if you want adaptive full LED lights, you will have to pay extra as a part of a package. When it comes to the wheels, all XC90 Inscription models come standard with 20-inch wheels, but if you want these upgraded 21-inch wheels, you will have to pay an extra $800. Next up, let's talk about cargo capacity, because this is an SUV after all. To pop the tailgate back here, you just hit that little button under the L, and you're welcomed by 22 cubic feet behind the third row, and with the third row and the second row folded, you can enjoy 80 cubic feet. To fold the third row and the second row, you just pull these latches and push forward. There's no automatic seat folding game going on here. It's pretty easy just to do it manually. Oddly enough, the Volvo XC90 does not have soft close doors. Volvo, please add those. Here's how the door sounds from the outside and from the inside. Pretty solid. Let's take a seat inside the 2020 Volvo XC90 because just like the outside, not much has changed on the inside. And that's not a bad thing at all because this is an amazing place to be. It's absolutely beautiful in here. Volvo interiors are some of my favorite in this segment. Everything is just so simple, yet so elegant. There's definitely a sense of zen in here. Everything in here feels really nice to the touch, and not to mention, it just smells very nice. I love the smell of Volvo interiors a lot. The top of the line Inscription trim gives you real walnut wood trim, along with soft and plush Nappa leather upholstery and Nappa leather seats that are heated and cooled in the front, and the luxury package that we talked about earlier will give you heated rear seats along with a heated steering. Now, when it comes to second and third row legroom, you get 37 inches of legroom in the second row. That's my seating position. I'm about 6 foot tall. You can see I still have plenty of room. You have heated seats on this particular model back here along with your own climate control. And since this one has second row captain chairs, you don't have to fold any seats to get to the third row. You can just climb through the middle, and I'm gonna do that while holding my camera. Sorry for the shaky footage. Once you get back here, you have 32 inches of leg room. Not enough for me, but you can sit in the middle and kick your leg forward and hang out. The panoramic sunroof on this particular model is standard. When it comes to cup holders, I count a total of 6, but you can really do 7 if you use that area, which is not really a cup holder. So you get 3 in the front and then 2 in the back for second row passengers right there. And then 2 in the back for third row passengers, 1 on the right side and 1 on the left side. Moving on to the technical bits, you have a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster display as standard, and it's pretty nice. You have a few themes that you can pick from, including glass that you see here, minimalistic, performance, which looks really cool, and chrome rings. You can also customize what you see in the middle of the 2 dials, including show nothing, show current media, or show your map. That's what I default to because it looks really cool. Now, when it comes to the infotainment system, you have a 9-inch display that houses the Sensus infotainment system that we've all grown to love and adore, kind of. It used to be pretty glitchy and pretty slow and would freeze up. This time I've had no issues at all. It's very smooth to use, very, very easy, no glitches, no startup delays. It's pretty quick. They've improved it quite a bit. Now, I'm not going to dive too crazy into this. Really, when you swipe left, you have all your driver assist and vehicle functions on this side. And then when you swipe right, you have all your apps and media settings. You have Apple CarPlay, you have Android Auto, and then you have a bunch of other apps that are included in your car as standard. Now, one thing that I did want to point out is that I hate when climate controls are put into the infotainment system, but Volvo actually does it really well. So check this out. You can just hit the temperature there, and you can just swipe up and down to control the temperature, and you can sync the temperature from right here. Very cool and very easy. And then to dive deeper into your climate settings, you just hit this button right here, and this screen will come up, and you can just turn the AC on and off. It's very quick, very simple. It's not like Lexus where you have to dive through like 3 menu options just to sync the temperature or turn the AC on and off. Now let's talk about safety and driver assist tech because there's a lot of standard driver assist tech in here, including blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, lane mitigation. My test model also comes with an advanced package for $2,450, and that gives you heads-up display, headlight high pressure cleaning, and a 360 camera, which is super, super crisp. You have a regular rear view camera like that, or you can switch it in 360 view, and it's very crisp, and then you can zoom in on each of the camera angles like that, but it's very, very nice and very crisp. And of course, let's see how the horn sounds on the 2020 Volvo XC90. Pretty solid. And now that I've given you a tour of the 2020 Volvo XC90 T8 Inscription, let me give you my opinion on what I think about this luxury SUV. Let's get into it. The Volvo XC90 is one of my favorite luxury SUVs, and every time I get to test drive a version of it, I'm pretty happy for the week. The Volvo XC90 T8 here is the fastest of the XC90 lineup, but it's also a hybrid or plug-in hybrid. Now, I'm not a fan of plug-in hybrids or hybrids, but this one is extremely smooth and quite responsive. Now, on a full charge, the Volvo XC90 T8 will do 17 miles of zero emissions driving on electric power alone, but when you pop it into power mode, that's what they call sports mode in here, it really moves. 0 to 60 comes in just 5.3 seconds, and the power delivery is so seamless and so quick. It's kind of exhilarating. Now, the only complaint that I've always had with the Volvo XC90 is that it rides a little firmer than the competition, but you can combat that with the $1,800 air suspension package, which is definitely a must-have option. The air suspension reduces the firm ride that you get from the standard fixed dampers, and it helps the XC90 just kind of smoothen out when it goes over bumps and imperfections on the road. Now, if you're in the market for a luxury SUV, I highly recommend test driving the Volvo XC90. My top picks in this segment include the Audi Q7, BMW X5, Mercedes-Benz GLE, Lexus RX, and the Volvo XC90. If you're in the market, test drive all of those, but definitely check out the Volvo XC90. Either way, thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next week. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Omar Drives. I'm also on TikTok at Omar Drives. I'll see you next week. Take care. Peace. Oh, it smells so good in here. I feel so elegant driving this thing.